Hey, what's up? I'm Guy.
I'm John.
It's our YouTube channel. Subscribe to it. Give this video a like.
Check out the podcast below in the description.
And also check out our sponsor, Tito's Handmade Vodka.
Yep. #1 vodka in America. Tito's.
Crafted to be savored responsibly.
Is he going to lock to make the team?
We talked about him the other day. Like, there's no chance he's made. How is he making the team? We talked about him 4 days ago. He wasn't on the football field. Now, Kyle Shanahan's calling him one of the best players, one of the 6 best receivers. I don't want to overstate it.
Do you think that's kind of nuts to make that statement when he hasn't done anything? I know he's big, physical. I bet he looks sweet in the building, but and in theory, yeah. I mean, there are a lot of guys who probably are going to get cut this week that go, this guy, I'm one of the 5 or 6 or 7, depending on the unit you're in, right? Most talented guy in this group. And a coach would be like, yeah, I think you're physically gifted, but I didn't see it on the practice field and I didn't see it in the games. So it's like, your talent is great in theory, and it's fun to talk about, and we've all been talking about it. Fans have talked about it. The coaching staff's talked about it, but we didn't see it. Whenever you don't see it, it is always pretty risky. We do this a lot in the draft, where a guy plays a limited amount of time, maybe has a couple big moments, and he has all this talent, and you take him really high. And you go, I've never actually see them do it. And I just think that Jauan Jennings, let's not act like he's done that much, but at least he's practiced and played for a guy that has been hurt nonstop like Jalen Hurd. It just is risky in the sense that
Jennings did miss a game, right? Didn't he miss a
preseason game?
Yeah.
I mean, you're asking the wrong person.
Hold on, let me text
again,
Branch.
My simple point on this is that if you keep a guy, you have to know that reliability for a unit that gets injured a lot is very risky. And that's my whole point. And just taking someone who has been, like Jauan Jennings was healthy last year, right, on the practice squad. He was just available. Like Jalen Hurd has not been available for 2 years. And then all of a sudden he gets injured a lot in training camp. I'm not arguing with he looks sweet. You use a 3rd-round pick on him. In theory, he actually could be pretty good, but it's just he can get injured. And Kyle talked about that. There's a balance to a guy just disappearing from you immediately fast. It happens.
I wonder if part of the thinking is, and it's hard, you don't see this in the preseason, right? But if part of the thinking is you got Brandon Ayuk, you got Deebo Samuel, you got George Kittle, you got all the running backs, you got Kyle Juszczyk, you got Sanu, a guy who you might be able to draw up a 2 or 3 gadget plays, not gadget plays, but you know what I'm saying, like specifically run a play for this guy fits better than a guy who's your 5th, Sherfield, right? Yeah. Like, in all of those guys, if everybody's healthy, which everybody has not been, so I shouldn't even use that if.
It's a group that gets injured a lot.
It's a group that gets hurt a ton. So if everyone's healthy, then Hurd, fine. You got 2 or 3 plays for him a game, the threat of him being out there, a couple end arounds, this, that, whatever. But if guys are hurt and you need somebody to step up and be a number 3 receiver for 2 weeks because you're waiting for somebody to get back from injury, now you got a problem. Because he has not shown availability at this point.
Yeah, and depending on how you do your roster construct, to me, you are of zero risk of losing this player through waivers. Because how could anyone claim him? I guess you never say never, but would you agree it'd be pretty shocking if someone claimed a guy who's never played and who's been injured all training camp on their 53-man wide receiver?
Hold on, Trent Baalke's on the phone. Hello, Trent. Is Howie Roseman? Howie Roseman? I mean, it would be surprising.
So that would be my own thing. Now, if you had a spot, whatever. It's not that.
I mean,
big
if the
a deal.
alternative's Travis Benjamin, it's.
I think he got a concussion today, but I think Travis Benjamin is making the team just based on
Jets would claim him.
Returns. The Jets could. I mean, there are a lot of teams that are shitty. So yeah, I mean, there are teams that have some solid teams that don't have good receivers, right?
And there's a team with their John Middlecoff is going, I had a 1st-round grade on this guy 3 years ago. Now we can get him for nothing.
Exactly. And that's going to happen a lot. Like, there are going to be a ton of guys claimed over the next several days. It's kind of a crazy 24 hours, which is fun. There's also this balance. If veteran players around the league get released because of, the equivalent of a Jalen Hurd, not wrong guy. I mean, let's use a better example. Lenore, the corner for the Niners, who clearly I think they kind of like. He's kind of running with the ones. sometimes. Like, and you and I have been at practice. The DB coach is talking to him nonstop.
This video brought to you in part by our friends DraftKings. Use the promo code HAM. Download the app. Get in our league linked below.
Yep. Also, our friends at mybookie.ag, promo code HAM and the number 1. College football is rocking and rolling. The NFL's right around the corner. Get your gamble on. Mybookie.ag, promo code HAM1. You get a guy that the DB coach likes, and then he starts playing well, and then it's like, well, the Niners don't necessarily have this type player. But if you have an older veteran that was scheduled to make like $8 million, or you get Lenore for $800,000, you cut that guy. There are those players that do get released over the next 48 hours at wide receiver, like a bunch of Mohamed Sanu's that who knows, like maybe Kyle is comfortable with that. Maybe he's worked with him before. Like that is also in play. We can't, because a ton of young wide receivers get cut, but there are also older players around the league that are just going to get released for financial reasons.
Yeah.
And depending on Kyle's connection with them, right, or Welker, whoever. I mean, there's always someone in the building that may like, hey, I think this guy might be a good option for us, and he can play special teams. So that's why it's a very, very fluid 3 or 4 days. Because just because you make the team on Tuesday, well, Wednesday, it could be twofold. They either claim a guy, right, you're a 53rd guy. You're the 53rd guy in the roster, assuming that we don't get awarded any claims. Well, if we claim a guy and get awarded, if you're the last guy in the roster, you get removed and that guy gets added. He might not even be your own same position. Or the veteran thing where you go, well, hey, Mohamed Sanu type, we want to add this guy. He's just been released from fucking the Cowboys or whoever team, right? And we want him. And you got to cut a guy.
Yeah.
And you don't have to claim a vested veteran. They just become unrestricted free agents.
It does feel like it can happen you have an injury at another position or a couple injuries at another position.
Right? I think it happens a lot with cuts. Like a guy gets cut. They don't necessarily want to cut him. They just don't have a choice because some injuries, some stuff. Like you see River Craycraft, Richie James gets hurt. Well, they immediately just need a body. So you have to bring him back. Who are you going to sign some random guy or a guy that knows everything you need to do? Like River Craycraft's getting cut again, right? Tomorrow.
And he could come back in week 2.
Yeah. Or he could land on their practice squad just because he knows what he's doing and Kyle's comfortable with him.